desperate vet joins terrified dog in kennel. What he does next transforms her life forever. Let me tell you a story that will stick with you. Imagine a dog so scared, so broken, that she couldn't even look anyone in the eye. This isn't just any story. It's about a little dog named Gracie and the man who refused to give up on her when everyone else did. So here's the question. What would you do if you saw a dog lying in the middle of the street, shaking, sick, and too weak to move? Would you stop? Would you help? For one man, the answer was yes. He stopped everything for her. And what he did next is nothing short of a miracle. Gracie was found in the middle of a busy street. She was in bad shape. Her fur was matted, her ribs stuck out, and she could barely lift her head. She wasn't just physically sick. She was scared out of her mind. Every sound, every movement made her flinch. Think about that for a second. Can you imagine being so afraid of the world around you that even the tiniest noise feels like a threat? But something incredible happened. This man, a veterinarian who happened to be passing by, saw her and didn't turn away. He scooped her up and rushed her to his clinic. That was the beginning of Gracie's journey, but it wasn't smooth sailing from there. When they got to the clinic, the vet, let's call him Dr. Mathis, had a tough decision to make. Gracie was in such bad shape that some people at the clinic said the kindest thing to do was to put her down. They didn't think she could survive. Her body was failing, and she was too weak to even eat. But Dr. Mathis looked at her and saw something else. He saw a little spark of life still there, so he made a choice. He was going to fight for her, no matter how hard it got. Have you ever had a moment where you felt like the odds were stacked against you, but someone believed in you anyway? That's exactly what Dr. Mathis did for Gracie. The first few days were rough. Gracie wouldn't eat. She wouldn't move. She just sat in the corner of her kennel, trembling. Her big, sad eyes looked at Dr. Mathis as if to say, "Why should I trust you?" So, what did he do? He did something that surprised everyone. Instead of forcing her to eat or trying to make her feel better with loud encouragement, he sat down on the floor next to her. He opened his lunchbox, took out his food, and started eating right there. No big gestures, no pressure, just quiet company. Day after day, he sat there with her, and slowly, something amazing happened. Gracie started to relax. One day, she took a small bite of food while he was eating, then another, and another. It was a tiny step, but it was a step forward. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like you were all alone in something, and then someone just sat with you? They didn't try to fix you. They just stayed by your side. That's what Dr. Mathis did for Gracie, and it changed everything. As the days turned into weeks, Gracie started to come out of her shell. She wasn't just eating, she was wagging her tail. She began to explore her kennel, then the room, and finally the clinic yard. And one day, she did something no one expected. She started playing with the other dogs. It's wild to think about, right? This dog who was once too scared to even lift her head was now running and playing like she didn't have a care in the world. But even then, there was still one hurdle left, her fear of people. Dr. Mathis knew this wasn't going to be a quick fix. Trust doesn't happen overnight, so he took it slow. He let her approach him on her own terms. Little by little, she started to trust him. First, she let him pet her head. Then, she would sit next to him. And eventually, she started following him around the clinic like a shadow. Here's where the story takes a turn. Dr. Mathis had planned to find Gracie a new home once she was fully healed. But after everything they'd been through together, he couldn't let her go. He had saved her life, but in a way she had changed his too, so he adopted her. Every year now, on the anniversary of the day he found her, Dr. Mathis and Gracie celebrate together. It's not just a simple Gotcha Day celebration. It's a reminder of how far they've come and how love, patience, and kindness can truly change a life. So, why am I telling you this story? Because it's not just about Gracie or Dr. Mathis. It's about all of us. It's about those moments when we're scared, broken, or feel like we've hit rock bottom. And it's about the people who choose to sit with us, who refuse to give up on us, even when the odds seem impossible. Think about it. Who's been your Dr. Mathis? Or maybe, who can you be a Dr. Mathis for? Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness, like sitting quietly beside someone who's struggling, can change everything. If this story moved you, share it. Maybe someone else needs to hear it too. And if you've got a story of your own about kindness, leave it in the comments. Let's remind each other that no matter how tough life gets, there's always hope. Oh, and one more thing. If you want to keep hearing stories like this, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because sometimes we all need a little reminder of the good in the world. Thanks for listening. And remember, even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever.